What's up, everybody? This is Lance. I am the host of the Health and Real Estate Podcast. And today's guest is Patrick Woods. He's been in the KW ecosystem for going on 20 years now. He is the regional director of the Northern California, Hawaii region in KW. He is market center owner slash operating principal of three market centers, which is Roseville, Elk Grove, and Chico. So we're going to dive into all of that. But first, Patrick, how did you get into real estate?
Oh gosh. I I'll try and tell this as fast as I can. I was in LA. I owned back then what we used to call .com, and it was a great company. Was in LA. Did audio and video distribution for major record labels, movie studios. We ended up selling that company off after the .com bubble burst September 11th. And my joke is, after that experience, I wanted to get into something easy, so I chose real estate. So
That
I went into commercial first. I did that for about 3 years. And then I decided I want to move to Sacramento to be closer to family, as my wife and I wanted to start a family.
mhm.
And my commercial broker down in Santa Monica said, that's awesome. I don't want to manage somebody from Sacramento. So wish you the best. And I was like, wait, what? So moved up to Sacramento and got into real estate on residential side, because I started looking at it going, commercial is great opportunity. You can make tons of money and you have one deal that can make your annual income.
Mhm.
Residential real estate, it might take you 4, 5, 10, 20, depending on your market, to do that. But if one falls out, it's not the end of the world. You didn't lose your years of income for that. And so that just kind of appealed to me. That was a little bit more fast paced and whatnot. So when I moved to Sacramento, here's kind of the funny story in there is I moved to Sacramento, joined my first brokerage, and I had no income. My wife is a school teacher, moved up here, had no income because she hadn't started a school year yet. We had bought a house. That's when you could do that. No job, no assets, no income, and to buy a house. So I went from renting to a mortgage payment with no income. If you want motivation to get out, and knock on doors, and hold open houses, and do all the things you need to do to be successful, I'll tell you, man, that was a moment you could pull the covers over your head and stay in bed, or you just had to get out there and get going.
Mhm.
And so did that. In first 11 months, I was the number 2 agent in our brokerage in Sacramento. And then essentially I went to this is a funny story. I went to my manager. I was like, hey, my business is picking up and I'm getting really busy. I see these people with these signs out there that say real estate teams. And I don't know how to build a team. How do I build a team? And he literally goes, I probably shouldn't do this, but, and he reaches over the bookshelf and grabs the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book and hands it to me. That was the beginning of the end, right? So I saw
Uh-huh.
that. And then I went to family reunion as a guest from my other brokerage. And I was the guy walking around with my thumb over my brokerage logo. So nobody would say, oh, you're checking us out, huh? And I loved it. And everything that they told me about KW turned out to be either true in the best possible way or not true. And I experienced it firsthand at kind of deepest level, from a cultural training, environmental experience. I even asked the vendors at the exhibit hall, I'm like, is this normal? Because that was the first real estate conference I went to. Is this normal? Are most real estate conferences like this? Like, everybody here is happy. They're fun. They're energetic. Like, we love Keller Williams events. And so it validated everything that I was experiencing. And I came back, signed up, and like you said, and I've been here now 20 years. And it's been one of the best decisions I've made. Keller Williams, not nobody's perfect, and it aligns with who I am. Otherwise, I obviously wouldn't be here for as long as I have. So
Yeah.
that's as best I can get you through how I got in real estate.
Definitely. Yeah, I love Keller Williams. My first year I joined Keller Williams. I specifically joined because of profit share, funnily. But
Mm.
I went to a family reunion and I was blown away by the culture, the training, and I had the same experience as you. I was like, what is going on? Like and you just feel the energy, and it's
Yep.
so hard to explain it to someone that hasn't experienced it. And you just got to
Yeah.
experience it for yourself. Like, go to family reunion. There's nothing like it in the real estate industry.
When I, Keller Williams is an experiential company, you've got to go there. And the great thing, I tell my wife this all the time, is because of things like family reunion and because of the ecosystem KW has, after 20 years, I could literally fly into any airport in the United States and have a place to crash because I have friends across the country and good friends too that would let me crash on their sofa at the very least because of going to events and making those relationships.
Absolutely. Yeah, it has the culture and the community. It's truly
Yep.
special. So
Yep.
after family reunion, you joined Keller Williams, and then what got you into leadership and ownership?
Oh gosh. So I joined Keller Williams March of '06. And so my anniversary day, ironically, is April Fool's Day. So and then August of '06, they came after me to be a team leader of the office I had joined. And I literally said, no, I'm making great money as an agent. I don't want to do the team leader role. That's not for me. And here's back you up a little bit. The reason why I joined Keller Williams is just because the conversations are different here, right?
Hmm.
We talk about real estate, we talk about sales, we talk about building great businesses, but there's just something beyond that where you're having true business conversations, leadership conversations, business growth, personal growth and development conversations that I wasn't experiencing anywhere else in the real estate space. And so I met with one of the investors of the market center. He goes, Patrick, you love being an agent. Why do you love being an agent? I said, obviously, I love it because of the income, but I also love it because I don't feel like I'm selling anything. I get to impact people's lives, right? Everybody needs a roof over their head and they're going through a life event. Either it's a positive or a negative life event. And I get to help them in that. And I get paid great money to do that. He goes, awesome. And he said, how many people do you think the average real estate agent has in their database? I was like, I don't know. He goes, probably about 250 to 300 on average. Like, okay. He says, and so that's your reach. That's your impact. When you become a team leader of a market center and you have 100 agents in your market center that all have 250 to 300, you've now multiplied your reach and your impact. And it was like, boom, I got it. Like, okay, where do I sign up? This is for speaking my love language.
Hmm.
And so I come in as a team leader in '06. And, if you've been to any class in real estate, they always say, how many of you were in real estate during the Great Recession? Right. And they wear it as like a badge of honor. And
Hmm.
so I was a team leader during that season. I remember going away as an agent on 4th of July weekend and business was booming. Came back and the market hadn't turned, but the phone stopped ringing. Like it was just quiet and weird. And so
Hmm.
when I became a team leader, that's when the market really started to go down. And it was tough. And you look back and you connect the dots. Um, I think I was uniquely prepared to weather that storm because I had gone through the dot-com bubble crash, right? And then you fast forward to COVID, I was uniquely prepared to navigate that as best as we could with unknown circumstances because I've been to two other roller coaster rides previously. So it's in the moment, you're like, man, that stinks. It's tough, but you never know what's preparing you for in the future. So, well, anyways, team leader of the Sacramento Natomas office, and I went over to the Sacramento downtown office, and then went to Roseville. So in that process, I turned around one market center, and during the crash, I shut down a market center. I went over there, turned around. It was further gone than I thought because they leased too much space. Had they not leased so much space, it would still be here today.
Hmm.
Just during the heyday, everybody was printing money, right?
Yeah.
And then when I went to Roseville, we ended up becoming the number one market center in all of Keller Williams for 2 years in a row in profit and profit share, which was quite an amazing time. That was like the pinnacle of professional experience inside the Keller Williams ecosystem.
That is incredible because there are over 800, today there's over 800 Keller Williams market centers throughout the
Yep.
nation. And to be number one in profit share out of all 800, 2 years, that is unheard of, especially in California. Like in
Yep.
California, it's a lot
But
harder
in fact,
profitable. Yeah. So that is absolutely incredible. What timeline was this in?
that was 2012 and 2013 that we were awarded number one market center. And
Wow.
so it was, it was a remarkable time. Energy was through the roof. It was like, I tell people all the time, how many people would like to have more fun in real estate today? And I say, you know what's fun? Winning. Winning is fun. And so we were definitely winning and it was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, let's dive into that a little bit. Like
Yep.
how did you get it to become the most profitable market center for 2 years in a row?
Well, it's in all fairness, there were, well, I'll share this with you. In the fairness side of it, those wheels were set in motion well before I got there. Right.
Mhm.
And then because I joined that office in 2011, and then so the wheels were already in motion. The one thing I will say is that I definitely put fuel and gasoline on that fire that took it to the next level. And for me, if we want to talk about how did I get it there, it's more of how did I get myself to a place where I was presented the opportunity to be the guy to put the gasoline on the fire. And I did that by going through the Great Recession, turning around market center, shutting down a market center, and going through some really challenging experiences where I wanted to throw in the towel and not to where somebody came and tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, I like what you're doing. Do you want to come run Roseville?" And I was like, "Yes." And then I went home and asked my wife if that was okay. So you just look at that office. Roseville at that time had a lot of trajectory. We were growing. When I took over, we were about 330 agents. When I stepped out of the role, we we're at 550. And so it was just a matter of really articulating the value proposition, deeply and passionately caring about the agents that we're in business with.
Mhm.
It's how I'm wired. Is I believe in this industry that it can change lives. And my motto is if you can't do it in my brokerages, it's not just the wrong brokerage for you, it's the wrong industry for you.
Mhm.
Right. And that's kind of the standard that we put out there. And so I think doing that and creating an environment where people feel that there's trust and that people genuinely, authentically care about them, which is how I'm wired and why I love KW is because that's how this company has always treated me. Right.
Mhm.
So how did we get to be number one? Great people that founded the office originally, great momentum leading up to it, and then putting the right people together at the right time was a big part of that. And it took years to get there on my side to be ready for the opportunity. If I took the role, I don't know, 3 years earlier, I probably would have drowned in the role.
Mhm.
So I don't know if I answered your question appropriately, but
No, you did, and that's what I love about KW because it's not about what you get, but it's more about who you become in the process. So
Mhm.
at Keller Williams, there's just so much opportunity if you keep, proving yourself and showing up and leveling up. And there's just so much coaching and training to do that where most other brokerages, they try to teach you to become the best agent, but at Keller Williams, they teach you to become the best you, which makes you become the best agent. They teach you how to become the best uh real estate business owner, community leader.
Totally.
Yeah.
But
Awesome.
I'll say this. I don't think when you look at other brokerages, and there's a lot of great brokerages out there, I don't think they don't do the things that Keller Williams does for lack of want. I think there's something unique about this ecosystem where it attracted a certain type of person from day one,
Mhm.
which made it a community of people that were doing really cool stuff inside and outside of real estate. And that just has percolated over the years, right? And that's something that is
Awesome.
hardwired into the DNA of KW.
Definitely.
Yep.
Yeah. So you were the team leader for a few
Mhm.
years at the Roseville office. And
Yep.
then what was your next transition? Because now you're operating principal for 3 market centers.
Yeah. So it's funny. There's a couple of stories in here. Um, so there's a rumor out there that team leaders don't last very long in Keller Williams, right? And I was a team leader for 10 years. And so either I'm really a slow learner or I'm living proof that there is opportunity if you really nail it and are willing to get outside your comfort zone. Because the funny thing is, team leader role, when I liked it, I'm not doing anything different in that role than I was in my sales business. My target audience was just different. If I'm selling
Mhm.
expires and sellers, if I'm team leader, it's agents, right? And so I was team leader of Roseville. And here's the funny thing, two stories. Bold. So you've taken
Mhm.
bold, right?
Yes.
So in
There's
bold,
a
they have
see
you
that
write that
both.
letter. There you go. Yeah, I love it. So you know the letter that they have you write yourself that they mail to you a year later?
Yes.
And so we took the very first bowl that they had ever done in Sacramento. It was the first round, and I wrote the letter to myself. And in that year, I had left Sacramento and come to Roseville, and then the letter showed up at my house. And I sat it on the corner of my dining room table and I just was like, man, what did I write to myself in that letter all hopped up on bold? And I was almost embarrassed to open it. So I held off on opening that letter. And finally, after a month, I worked up the courage to open up the letter. The first sentence of that letter, I kid you not, was, I'm currently running the number one office in all of Keller Williams.
Wow.
Roseville was not on the trajectory. I didn't write that taking Sacramento to number one. I just put, I'm currently running the number one. And then I was in Roseville and that was the year we number one. So
Mhm.
to that effect, I was team leader here for 4.5 years in Roseville. And I went to coaching skills camp and they have you punch through a board and you write on the board all the things that are your biggest goals, dreams, aspirations on one side, and then all the limiting beliefs, all the things that are going to hold you back from accomplishing that on the other side. So you're essentially punching through your limiting beliefs to get to your goals.
Mhm.
As one of my goals, I wrote, I want to be general manager or OP of 3 to 4 market centers. I'm at the event. I had just broken through the board. The next day, my OP texts me. He's like, hey, Patrick, are you in the office? I'd love to grab lunch. And I'm thinking, how much trouble am I in? What did I do now? Right. This, unfortunately, that could I typically don't ask for permission. Sometimes I ask for forgiveness. So I was out of town. I told him we met that Friday. So this is like, I broke the board on Tuesday. He texted me on Wednesday. By Friday, we're having lunch. He goes, Patrick, I need to hire a general manager and I would like you to take the role. And if you decide not to, I'm going to have to hire your boss. I
Mm.
literally wrote that on the board on Tuesday. And by Friday, I had that job. So there's
Wow.
2 instances of putting my goals out there on paper, like pen to paper, and it happening. So all that to say, I became the general manager of 4 offices in Sacramento and ran those. And then my boss came to me, my OP, and he said, hey, Patrick, I want to sell the 4 market centers. And he goes, I want to sell them as a package deal. And I said, you know what? I want to buy Elk Grove. That's the one that I want. And he said, well, I'm going to sell all 4 together because that's what I want to do for the best outcome for me and my family. I said, okay. And I walked away from the deal. About
Mhm.
4 months later, he came to me and said, I've got buyers for the other 3 and Elk Grove's still available. Do you still want it? And lo and behold, I took the deal. And so that was 2017. I became OP of Elk Grove. And during that time, I was also a MAPS leadership coach. So I've done probably about 5,000 coaching calls over 7 years of doing that. And then in 2020, he approached me and asked me if I wanted to buy Roseville. Actually, 2019, he started the conversation. And I ended up buying Chico in March of 2020. I don't know if you remember what March of 2020 was like.
Yeah, that was good times,
Literally,
right?
I had a shelter in place, right? And I
Yep.
had no team leader, and they were, I need to hire a team leader. What does a team leader do? Your job is to meet with our agents and meet with agents that are not with us yet. And by the way, you can't meet with anybody, right? And then October 2020, I ended up buying Roseville. We closed on that deal. And so I've been in that role ever since. Then just the beginning of this year, became regional director for Northern California and Hawaii. So it's been quite the learning curve and quite the roller coaster ride. And it's been a ton of fun, the entire experience.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you first start off with Roseville, then Elk Grove, then Chico. And I kind of want to dive into the Chico one because that I just pulled the numbers for last year. And in 2025, the Chico Market Center was the number 12 most profitable market center in all of California with Keller Williams. And so it's hard to do. I'm not sure why, but it's tougher to be a profitable market center in California. So tell us how you accomplish that.
But it's a couple of things on that. Yeah, it's tougher. Like the last handful of years, we had that go into COVID, and it was, are we ever going to sell a house again? And fortunately, all of our thoughts were wrong because everybody started selling the houses like gangbusters
Hmm.
to the point where everybody was making great money and they were also exhausted. And then the interest rates changed and the market started slowing down. And so, from a broker standpoint, you look at it, it's been 2007 on repeat for 3 years, more or less, nationwide, right? And so, yeah, it is definitely more challenging for the agents and for the brokerages to be uh, profitable and highly profitable during a time like this. And it's just interesting times. So I appreciate that. And yeah, I'm very proud of the Chico office. I think the way that happens is the agent mix that we have in that office. I joke and I call it my pound for pound tiger shark of productivity because it's about 100 agents. It's a town, a college town in Chico. About 100,000 people live there. Not a whole lot of population surrounding it. They went through the campfire back pre-COVID, so they've had their experiences, and even in that, they had 30,000 people move from Paradise into Chico because of those fires pre-COVID. Then the COVID ramp up. So there's been a lot of things that went in their favor, and a lot of things that should have gone against them as things slowed down because they went up so high because of the campfire. Because on the real estate side, right? They had a further way to fall. And the fact that they haven't speaks a ton about the people that we're in business with. Right. And so when I walk in that office, the agents, the top performing agents all have a profit and loss statement. They're all looking at what they can invest in. They are all plugged in at a high level to Keller Williams experiences. They have built relationships. Most all of our top producers have a MAPS coach. So if you ask me what makes that office successful, it's the engagement into the ecosystem and the camaraderie with each other that really drives that in that office. Right. Rising
Well,
tide raises all.
absolutely. So they're just really plugged in and Kellerized, following the systems and models, engaged
Yep.
with other agents. You probably have agents teaching classes to other agents. Like that's like the
And
ideal Keller Williams systems and models.
one of our top agents up there who was on the ALC previously is not right now, but she wrote an 8-week course based on her business, literally close to $1 million in GCI in Chico, small town Chico. She wrote an 8-week course on how to do business the way that she's done it. And no gain for her outside of just doing something to give back to that office.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a class that was packed, and it's not packed just with brand new licensees. It's packed with our top producers. And she's sharing everything that she does to run her business and be successful. And oh, by the way, she takes 5, 6, 8-week vacations with her family while her business is still performing at that level. Right? You go on Facebook and she's on vacation. You're like, I've always wanted to go there. Then a week later, she's someplace else. So like, she's checking bucket list things off on one trip where we
Yeah,
check it off in multiple years.
absolutely. Yeah, I
Plus,
love
I mean,
that. I was gonna say I was
I just,
blown away when I joined Keller Williams because they weren't my first brokerage, but now they're my final brokerage. My
Mhm.
first brokerage, I was brand new agent, and it was a small boutique brokerage where I'm from in St. Louis, Missouri. And no one would train me because one, they didn't have a team leader. They just had a broker who was an owner who also
Mhm.
had his own real estate team, who also did his own real estate investments. So he didn't have, much time for a new agent like me. And then no one would teach me how to do open houses. And all the other agents looked at me like competition. But there was one lady who showed me, she was a top agent at that office. She showed me how she does an open house, but she made me promise that I won't go in her territory because I lived in like South City and she was on the other part, like North County or something. She's like, "Hey, this is my area. I'll teach you what I'm doing, but you can't come in my territory." I was like, "Okay." But and then I come to Keller Williams and everyone's teaching everybody everything. I was like, "Whoa, this is different." Yeah.
Yep. It's very different. I had a buddy who was in a brokerage down in Pacific Palisades down there,
Mhm.
and we invited him to come to family reunion. And he was like, I don't know if I want to make a move. I'm not so sure. And I said, hey, if you go to family reunion and it's still not for you, they'll never bother you again because you have literally seen Keller Williams at the deepest level. And if that doesn't resonate with you, there is nothing that you can do to persuade you to join because you've already seen it as far as you can, right? He went, and that was before QR codes and all that stuff. And people are like, shoot me a text, shoot me an email, send you my 33 touch. Like, Patrick, is this the way it is at Keller Williams? Like, this is insane. And he had similar experiences to me at my previous brokerage. You print out something on the printer and you had to run because other people would grab it and like all weird stuff, right? And they were protecting things on the printer. It's weird. You think about listing presentation. Neither you or I invented the listing presentation. So there's nothing in that packet that is proprietary to you.
Mhm.
And if I had yours, I would probably present it very differently than you did. So there's no point in hoarding it or hiding it or
Yeah.
protecting it. the reality is like, I think what we understand here is that iron sharpens iron.
Hmm.
If I give you my listing presentation and you get really good at it, I can be ticked that you have my listing presentation, you're doing better than me, or it could force me to level up and get better myself. Right? It's kind of like when you drive home and you see your neighbor has a sign for sale in the yard and it's not you. I can either be upset with the neighbor or I could go, what do I need to do differently so all my neighbors know that I'm in real estate? I'm going to take the best care of them so that never happens again. And it's just
Absolutely.
that, it's that mindset. That's you.
Definitely. Yeah. And what I love about KW is all about collaboration too. So there's a
Mhm.
quote or saying, I think it's something along the lines of everybody at the top is collaborating and everybody at the bottom is competing. And Keller Williams
Mhm.
is all about collaboration. So I absolutely love that.
Yep.
So let's talk about your new role. You said you just started
Yeah.
the being the Keller Williams regional director of Northern California slash Hawaii region.
Yep.
How'd you get how'd that start?
Well, it's for me, right? Hawaii. Come on.
I know. I was just in Hawaii last month for the first
Yeah.
time.
I'm excited. How did I get this role? I think I would look at it the same way that I look at Roseville. I had done the work before the role to prove that I was capable of the role. And time will tell whether that's true or not. But I did it well enough to where somebody said, "Hey, we want you in this role." And when that door was cracked open a little bit, I kicked it open more or less. And so the opportunity is phenomenal. We've got just shy of 5,000 agents in the region, 30 plus offices in the region, a
Wow.
lot of great people. And so, I mean, I'm learning the role. I've been an operator inside the ecosystem for 20 years. And now I get to see it from a whole different vantage point. And it's one of those things that the more layers of the onion I peel back in this role so far, and granted, I've only been in it since the fifth of the year, the more excited I get about Keller Williams and the opportunity. It's an incredible opportunity to impact more people. Like you go back to that team leader conversation, right? Team leader, 100 agents, 250 people in a database, and you become an OP of a market center or multiple market centers
Mhm.
with 700 people, 250 people in a database. And you become a regional director with the ecosystem with 5,000 people, 250 people in a database. It's quite an opportunity to impact lives directly and indirectly. And it's something that I'm passionate about and don't take lightly.
Mhm.
So it's exciting for me.
Wow, that is a big region. So
Yep.
around 5,000 agents in 30
I
market
just,
centers.
it's like 4,800 right now.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
impressive. That's a big one because most regions are well, I don't know. So I'm in West Side LA region. It's like 5, 6 market centers. But yeah,
You've got a few regions down there, and then there's one for Northern California,
yeah.
right?
Wow.
Yeah.
And the Hawaii, how many offices are in Hawaii?
We have 3 offices in Hawaii.
Awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
So I bet
So
that's
unfortunately, I have to go out there. I got to check in on the crew, make sure that everything's okay in Hawaii. It's going to be horrible. You
right.
know, somebody's got to do it.
Not a bad perk.
No,
So
not bad at all.
I'm not super familiar with what it like exactly the role of a regional director does. So kind
Mhm.
of would you mind sharing that?
Sure. So if we go, like you have the hierarchy of Keller Williams. So you've got Keller Williams Realty International, then you have the operator, the OP of the market center, and then you have the team leader. And the way that I look at that role is the OP is like the chairman of the board, and the team leader is like the CEO of the organization. They run the day-to-day operations of the organization. And the OP, their job is vision, capital, and accountability to the market center. Now, you insert the regional director over here because their role is to help facilitate that relationship between Keller Williams and the operators, help support them, and then also grow the territory. So there's more opportunity for people that want to be part of Keller Williams, want to be owners in Keller Williams, investors in Keller Williams. So it's just an opportunity for us to grow the existing businesses that we have in the territory, as well as to create opportunity for new franchises in those territories. That's really the gist of it. And we do that obviously through growing our agent base. And the only way that we grow our agent base is I think recruiting has gotten a negative connotation, right? And that's why I like the term growth, because if I add 10 people to the organization, but I lose 11, we didn't grow. So
Hmm.
retention and recruiting collectively is growth. And the only way that you do growth really is that the value proposition is strong enough. And that's where I look at my opportunity and my responsibility as an OP of the office, as well as the regional directors, to make sure that value proposition is alive and well and very strong to support existing agent base that makes us an attractor for more people that want to build a really big life.
Awesome. I love it.
Yep.
That sounds like a really fun job. Yeah, really awesome
It
role.
can be. Yeah.
A lot of growth, a lot of agents, a lot of
Yep.
opportunity.
Yep.
Us.
And and also in that, it's my responsibility to go find people that are performing and looking for that next level of opportunity, right? So
Hmm.
it's a huge thing for me to be doing that. We teach classes like career visioning, right, where we're building our bench of talent for future opportunities, whether I'm an agent or an operator of a business. And so I'm running the playbook. I'm running the MREA. I'm running the one thing. I'm running leverage series CV. I'm just plug and play what Keller Williams has taught me over 20 years.
Definitely. Yeah. So what's kind of your vision and goals for your region?
Vision and goals. I mean, ultimately, what it comes down to is I want more people to experience what I've experienced inside KW, which is a world of endless opportunity. And you may or may not remember these books. They were the old choose your own adventure books. And so I've probably aged myself right there, which as I'm getting older, I do more and more of that, I realize. And so what they were, when you're a kid, you read these books and you got to bounce around from page, like different parts of the book based on what decision you made at a certain part of the book. Right? You're on an adventure and you choose, okay, you want to go in the cave, that's page 37. You want to go in the boat, that's page 142. And that's kind of how KW has been to me. There's this world of opportunity and you can kind of pick which lane you want to go into or things that you might want to try on to see if it's a fit. And
Hmm.
so my vision is, if you want to join and become a great agent that provides for your family, and that's the max that you want to do, great. That's your decision. If you want to do that and grow into something else, great. So I want to facilitate whatever that looks like for each individual. The only caveat or asterisk I put on that is I want to cause people to think bigger than what they're currently thinking,
Hmm.
right? Because sometimes we don't know what we don't know, and we come in thinking this is all that's available. And if I want to do this, I got to go someplace else to accomplish that, which is not always the case. So my goal is, one, that people experience what I've experienced, and two, cause them to think bigger and play a little bit bigger for their future and what they want to accomplish out of life. Because if I back up, people get into real estate for really one reason, and that's opportunity, right? We find that by freedom of our time, the income opportunity of it, and the opportunity to create wealth. And
Hmm.
profit share is a great example of an opportunity to create wealth. It's actually your most profitable business because it costs you nothing
Hmm.
to build your profit share tree. Maybe a cup of coffee, maybe, right? So your ROI on profit share is infinite. Then you look at, I've been around the country teaching over the last 20 years, and I'll teach classes to 10 people or 500 people. And in that class, I'll talk about those three things. I'll say, show of hands, how many people, and this is Keller Williams or otherwise, how many people actually own an investment property? And let's say out of 300 people, maybe 10 to 12 people raise their hand. And so for me, I look at it going, I want people to maximize the opportunity of this business because they got in because they want something more for their future. And are they actually accomplishing that? Or has this just become another job? Right. So
Hmm.
that's where my vision is and where my passion is. And all the other stuff, as long as we're driving on that kind of other noise, I'll call it, kind of takes care of itself. Doesn't mean it goes away. But when people are having more fun doing this business, when people are making more money, like, I've never had somebody come to me and go, Patrick, I'm making way too much money at your brokerage. I need to leave and go someplace else. I'm making way too much money. I'm having a ton of fun doing it. I need to leave. Never happened. Right. So that's what I look at and I want to deliver on because, like I said, the last handful of years have been challenging. And I think everybody could use a little bit more fun. And the best way to have more fun is to win and have a compelling vision for your future that you feel like you're on pace to accomplish.
Wow, that was like so perfectly said. I love it. Yeah,
Good. What
that's
did I say? I got out for a minute.
it was perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it is fun when you're winning and making a lot of money and making a lot of impact. and everything like
Mhm.
that. That's actually one of my goals for the health and real estate podcast is also I'm building a health and real estate community just
Nice.
to my whole slogan or whether is basically just health made simple, lead gen made fun. Because I feel like everyone just overcomplicates health. And also, most agents, I feel like there's a lot of resistance to lead generation. But that's what I try to teach them. Like, you don't, if you don't hate cold calling, you don't have to cold call. If you hate door knocking, you don't have to door knock. There's hundreds of ways to lead generate. Find two or three that fit your personality, and it won't even seem like work. So
Yep.
it's kind of the whole goal behind the community is just make health simple, lead gen fun, and build community and change lives.
Yep. I remember I was at a mega camp one time. They were interviewing somebody that they made like over $2 million in commissions, and they took 190 days off that year.
Wow.
And he got up on stage and he actually made some cold calls in front of everybody. So literally, there's 7,000 people in the crowd, and he's making live cold calls. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, "Oh, he fumbled his words there. I would have said this different." And all of a sudden, it hit me. I'm like, "Dang, you know what the difference between me and him is? He's making his calls and I'm not.
Yeah.
That's the only difference." And the person who's facilitating that panel afterwards, he goes, "You know what? Most people say, making cold calls is hard." He goes, "No, working in a coal mine is hard. Cold calls are easy,
Hmm.
right?" And so, yeah, here's kind of tying into that health piece. This is the way I look at everything in life. This is the analogy I love to use. Is since you're into health, you probably know the whole math equation. If you want to lose a pound of fat a week, it's 3,500 calories, right?
Hmm.
And so you have to have a deficit. And if you take that per day, that's 500 calories per day. And this is on average. If I weigh more or less, I might change a little bit based on my metabolism. Let's just say it's 500 calorie deficit. So I either need to eat less or exercise a little bit more to add that deficit. That's a pound of fat per week that I will lose. If I am going on vacation, if anybody's going on vacation, I want to look good in that bathing suit. Typically, people say, "I'm going on vacation 2 weeks. I need to lose all this weight." They go on some crazy cleanse, some fast, whatever. They lose the weight, go on vacation, come back. What have they done?
They
They probably
probably
put it
gain
all back
more.
on and more, right? So let's take the 500 calorie piece. Let's cut that in half. So it's 250 calories. If that's a protein bar, a quarter of a crumble cookie, like nothing. You wouldn't miss it. It's going for a walk after work. If I did 250 calories deficit every single day for a year, that's 26 pounds that I've lost without even really feeling like I've done anything. And I've
Mhm.
done it in a way that's totally manageable, totally sustainable. Like I am completely changed in the best possible way after the course of a year. And too many people are looking for what's the quick fix when if we just do small little incremental things, and that's what I call it, what's the 250 calories I need to do in my health, in my business, in my family, in my
Mm.
relationships. And so that's kind of the mantra I live by is something that's so small, but just compounds over time. And it's not even noticeable on the day to day, but at the end of the year changes your world.
Absolutely. And that's more what I resonate with is those simple fixes or not
Mhm.
fixes, but simple habits that create long-term results and compound. So, and it creates lifestyle change, not quick fixes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm all about
Make one more phone call today than you did yesterday. Don't have to, because people will beat themselves up. "Oh, I set a goal of making 10 cold calls a day. I made none. Okay. Now I'm going to make 20 to catch up. I didn't do that. Now I'm going to make 30. By the end of the week, they have 50 calls to make. And at the end of 2 weeks, they have 100 calls to make. And now it's like, so they're depressed. Just make one,
yeah.
right?
And
Just start.
that's another thing too is I always find the first one is always the hardest. Once you do the
Mhm.
first call, you get in that momentum and then you just get in the flow state. Same with exercising. The first rep is the hardest. Just showing up to the gym is the hardest. Once you get through the door, it's a
Yeah,
cakewalk.
my bed's warm and I know it's cold outside. But if you got a friend that's at the gym that's gonna meet you there at 5:30, now you have the guilt. Like, I'll go because I don't want them to be mad at me. So who's your accountability partner? I remember the first time I went door knocking, I begged the guy next to me in the cube next to me, "We please go door knocking. We please go door knocking." He finally conceded and he goes, "Okay, I'll go door knocking." Guess who got a listing on the first time door knocking? He did,
Wow.
right? So I was like, That's awesome. Congratulations. It was my idea and you won.
Yeah.
This Those are the types of things that you look at, just like how can I implement these things and just find something that's got like what you were talking about is the mental aspect of it. Like I call them hacks. How can I box myself in to where I have to do it? So even when I was first in real estate, what I would do on my listing presentation is I would go there and I say, what I'm going to do the first week that we put your home on the market is I'm going to door knock 100 homes around your house. Let them know that your home's for sale. The second week, I'm going to door knock another 100 doors to let them know that your home's for sale. So a differentiator was I'm willing to go door to door, literally to go sell your house. But
Hmm.
what I was really doing was I was boxing myself in to do my lead gen because I might choose to not do it for me, but I promised my clients I was going to do it. And so I'd do it even if I didn't want to. So where do we have other areas in our business that we can box ourselves in that way to get good accomplishments? Um, the other thing I think about is, have you ever seen the Tony Robbins Firewalker? Like when people
Yeah.
walk across the 2,000-degree coals. So I've done that a couple of times, but what the interesting part about it is, have you ever heard of anybody that just like got halfway through and stopped walking? It's never
No.
happened. It's always that first step. And once they get through that first step, then they're like, I got to make it across the whole way. So the first step's always the hardest. Once you get going, you've got the momentum and you're not going to stop. And I think
Hmm.
that whole firewalk is kind of a cool metaphor for anything else in life.
Definitely. Yeah. I love it. This has been a great episode. We touched on a lot. Is there anything else you want to add or that we didn't touch on?
Now, since this is geared around profit share, the one thing I will say about profit share, um, I didn't join Keller Williams for the profit share. It's like the icing on the cake for
Mhm.
me. And here's what I'll tell you: is it's an opportunity. Where if I'm teaching a class to Keller Williams people, I say show of hands, how many people would say Keller Williams has changed your life, either professionally or personally or both? Almost all the time, there's 100% of the room raises their hand, right? And I said, why are you making the decision for your friend on their decision whether or not to explore Keller Williams? You owe it to them to at least provide the opportunity to explore. Don't decide for them that they don't want to check it out
Mhm.
because it's changed your life. Why would you keep that a secret from your friends that are also in the industry? And I brought people into every brokerage that I worked for. And sometimes I've gotten a thank you. Here, the thank you is monetary, above and beyond. I also get to work next to somebody that I know, like, and trust. I get the opportunity to build my office with people that I enjoy working with daily, that I can mastermind with. I'm in complete control of the culture and energy in my office that helps me accomplish my goals. And oh, by the way, I can make great money for life off of it.
Mhm.
I'm doing the right thing for people.
No brainer. I love it.
Yep.
I Keller Williams has changed my life dramatically. I've become a much better person, leader, everything. And it's funny because I went to college for business and marketing, got a business and marketing degree. And swear I learned more about business and marketing at 3 months at Keller Williams than I did at 4 years in college. So easily, hands down. I feel like Keller Williams is like an MBA for teaching
Yeah,
you.
you get your master's in real estate, you get a master's in business, you get your master's in the human dynamic, right?
Mhm.
All kinds of
Absolutely.
things. And you get it to the extent that you plug in. There's a reason why sayings like the more you give, the more you get exist. And it's true. And it is modeled inside these four walls of Keller Williams.
100%. Well, awesome, Patrick. This has been an amazing episode. I will include all your links in the show notes so people can reach out to you. And that's a wrap. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.